Good evening, welcome to your Montessori moment with Miss Sandra. I've had lots of questions about malleable play and early activities. So I thought tonight I would share with you my homemade Play-doh work for the classroom. So many people I see in nurseries go into an adult area such as the kitchen, make the Play-doh, produce it to the children and then give them lots of plastic toys and leave them to play with it. But I actually think that the most important part of Play-doh and the most fun is actually making it and going through the stages with the children. So we have our practical life skills on the shelf for them, or if you're at home you may just use those tools at any time with your children, but actually let's put them to a good purpose. So I'm going to go through with you how I would make Play-doh with a group of children to also make it a sensory experience. So if we think of our olfactory sense, our sense of smell, there are not many Montessori activities on the shelves unless you have the smelling jars that actually deal with this sense. So this is a really lovely activity that we can make sensory for our nose too. So first of all, if you grow herbs at nursery or at home, go out into the garden with your child or your children and pick some herbs. So I've been out and I've picked parsley. I've picked the the petals off the marigold because they have their own smell and their own colour. I have got mint and I have some thyme. So the first part of our activity is to get our scissors, chop up our herbs that we're going to put into our Play-doh and put them into our little pots. So this in itself is a great activity to do with the children for their cutting skills. So I've got my early scissors, the bendy handled scissors. You can usually buy these on Amazon. And I'm just going to roughly cut up my herbs and put them in this little pot. So we're also showing children how aren't we sequencing and how to work in a tidy fashion, because that is actually a really good skill. And as I'm cutting this parsley, I can really smell it. I wish you could smell it through the phone too, but you can't. So here we go. So first of all, I've cut up my parsley and I've spoken about the smell of the parsley and the green leaves. So we've done colours as well. And then I have my little marigolds. So I'm going to take another little pot here and I'm going to cut up my marigold petals. We can talk about how these come from the flower. These are not leaves. Look at the colour of them. Oh, they smell lovely. They have quite a distinctive smell of marigolds. So there we go. We're going to crush those up a little bit and we have those in a pot. Then I have mint. So mint has a really strong smell, even just from rubbing it. So if I was working with a group of children, I would get them all to smell each thing and then make sure that there was enough different scents that every child who'd chosen to come and do this piece of work had scissors and a pot and could do their own cutting up. There we go. Oh, this does smell absolutely delicious. Oh, I can smell that mint. So now we've done discrimination, haven't we? Because we can smell the mint is different to the parsley and it's different to the marigold and they're different colours. So we're really exercising our senses here and our fine motor skill and my hand-eye coordination. So much work taking place. And then look, my control of error, I can see I've left one here and here and here. A little piece of this, so we tidy up as we go along. And then for the time, this one, you can either pull off the little tiny leaves if you're careful with your fingers. This takes very delicate skill, really fine motor skill doing this. Okay, so you can do that with the children. Or it's a really fine cutting activity as well. There we go. We'll get those off there. I'll put my thyme. Collect it up. Okay, and I'll put that over there. There we go. So I use a really simple Play-doh recipe. So I like each child that's taken part to have their own bowl and a spoon, and I use a cup measure. It can be any size of cup, okay? But this is going to be a nice amount of Play-doh for what we're making. So I am going to fill my cup with flour. So this is a really good transferring activity. Okay. So we're going to do full. We're filling it to the top. That's called full. Okay. There we go. And once that's full, we're going to pour it into our jug. Okay. And then I do my flour bag up and I pop it out of the way. And now I'm going to half fill my cup with salt. And talk about how we have to let some air back into the pot for us to carry on getting the salt out. There we go. So I have my salt. Do my lid up, and now I pop that away. I take my half a cup of salt and I'm going to pour it in with my flour, and now I'm going to mix them together. So I want to make different batches of Play-doh with this batch of Play-doh. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my flour and salt, now I've mixed them together, and I'm just going to fill up my little pots like this for a minute. There we go. There we go. And then I'll go back to my original little pile of thyme and put it in here. There we go. We'll stir that in. Oh, I can smell that. It always reminds me of Christmas dinner, thyme and parsley stuffing. So we have that in. Now we have just warm water. It mustn't be hot. It mustn't be cold. Just finger warm. Pour in a little bit of our water and stir. If we pour in too much water, that's absolutely fine, because we can add a little bit more flour. What we don't want to do is end up with a really, really dry mix. So that's a little bit too soft. So I just get a little bit more flour, stir it in. And you know when it's the right texture, because it comes away from the side of the bowl. There we go. Oh, I'm flicking it everywhere. Here we go. Oh, this does smell good. Okay, so you can see now it's coming into a bundle in the middle there. Now, if you wanted to add a little bit of colour, you can either add a couple of drops of food colouring into the water, or if you're in a nursery or at home and you have the powdered paint, just a spoonful of the powdered paint into the dry flour mix would work as well. There we go. So you can see now we have a nice bundle at the bottom. If I just wrap this around the bowl, it will remove and leave the bowl almost clean if it's the correct texture. Can you see that? There we go, almost a clean bowl, ready for the next batch. And all we have to do with this, a little bit of flour on our hands. So again, the children can do this. It's great exercise for their hands. Just squeezing and kneading that dough just so it goes a little bit stretchy. And there, our thyme Play-doh is ready. Lovely, smells gorgeous. Okay, and then we can just take the next pot, pop it in. Oh, that smells good with the parsley. Add a little bit of warm water, stir it the same. Get the children to mix it in. I'm a real guesswork person. I just think you can't really go too far wrong, as long as you don't run out of spare flour. Get it nice and soft, mix your flour in. You have to make a bit of mess, you know. There we go. You can see again. And in a moment, I'm going to show you my lovely box of tools that I put out with my Play-doh. There we go. So that's mixed. And again, we'll go around the bowl, getting all the bits off the edges. There. All done, and we're ready for the next one. So I won't make any more batches, so I think you've got the general idea of what we do. Again, we knead it. Again, great exercise for the children, strengthening those fingers and thumbs. Okay, lovely. So obviously you'd keep going until you've made as many different flavours, smells, if you want to. We have a delicious parsley one here and our delicious thyme one. So like I said, if you wanted to add a little bit of colour, you could. You can see the green in here as well. So I put my cooking things out of the way. And now another beautiful box that I've repurposed. This one sounds interesting, doesn't it? So I have my mat to work on, my board to work on. I have my lovely Play-Dohs. I'm going to open my box. Now, I don't like the big plastic Play-Doh toys that you get. Even with my own children, I found that they always blocked up and they were left full of Play-Doh, and the next time you went to them, they were all dried up, and they didn't particularly play with them. They were too technical. So if you've got younger children, this is a great time now to start introducing things that you will have in their practical life shelves and on their practical life activities. So, lovely little pair of tongs. We all love to cook, so a nice little pan. Some cutters. Now you can theme your cutters. You could have hearts for Valentine's. I'm sure you could find apple and pumpkin type ones for harvest times of year. There we go. I've got those. I've got my little round ones. Okay. And I've got little things like little rings. If you've got younger children, these are little shaped rings. They're really nice just to have on your finger and to put little marks into your Play-Doh. So little tiny objects as well. This is a lovely little brooch. Again, it makes a really lovely pattern in your Play-Doh. And remember, children love real objects, don't they? And things they've seen us use. A wooden wheel for making marks on it. Also a knife, fork and spoon, because it's really lovely to take your Play-Doh, roll out a sausage, cook it in your pan, and when it's cooked, take it out and we can practice our knife and fork skills of cutting up our lunch. There. So more practical life, okay? I've also got in here a little straw because that makes really great holes too. So they can pattern things. Another little wooden cutter. My little honey. I love that because it makes lovely wavy lines. And another little tiny ring. So you can imagine with this is so open-ended for children to play with. They've got their different smells, they can mix them together. So they're smelling it, they're feeling it, they're seeing the differences in it. They're being able to be creative, they can make what they want. There's no rules here. So that is your homemade Play-Doh. So many different scents you could do. You could put, you could make the liquid into tea or coffee or a fruit tea and use that to mix it together. Dry ingredients you can add to the flour. So yeah, so many open-ended options on that to make Play-Doh different every day of the year for your children. When you've finished with the Play-Doh, pop it in a little pot. This one hasn't got a lid, but something like a little plastic pot with a lid on, and it will keep fine for the next day. Homemade Play-Doh is probably best used only from like a week, so make it on Monday with the children for Friday. It doesn't keep a huge amount of time longer than that because obviously it is fresh food ingredients. So yeah, so a really lovely one for the senses tonight. For all ages it can be adapted to, and role play as well, because they can end up making a whole cafe or being chefs or whatever they want. So that's your Montessori moment for Thursday evening. I hope you can go and have fun now, and hopefully tomorrow or Monday you can all make some delicious homemade Play-Doh scented with herbs or whatever you have about, and see what different smells you can find. It's really exciting. Thank you.